Alexander, thank you so much for coming to BizTalk. How are you?
I'm doing well, Max. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for
My
having me.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much for coming, for your time. Before talking about your venture, shall we give an introduction who you are?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Alexander, and it actually means helper of men. It's an old Greek name, or sorry, it includes women as well, helper of humans. So at the moment, I help people to start businesses. So I'm a business consultant. I work with people in very early stages when they have an idea, and we help to develop their idea and develop that concept and get them to market as quickly as possible, finding their customers, interacting with their customers, and getting some kind of engagement. Sometimes the customer interaction isn't always transactional in terms of money or pay for the service. It could just be that you're doing research, but whatever it is, the whole point is that we have a visual presence so customers see we're real, they understand who these businesses are, what they do, and that interaction could be in the form of either marketing or actually transactional as well. So in very simple forms, that's it. We take the business from an idea to an actual business.
Thank you so much. I mean, in terms of this is what you are delivering, doing today. Are you going to do something different tomorrow?
Tomorrow, so at the moment, we're working with lots of startups. We have an aim to work with 100 this year, to launch 100 businesses this year, which would be amazing. And then off the back of that, next year, we're looking at helping them to grow as well. So we're particularly invested in the early stages. There aren't a lot of people, a lot of companies that work with really early stages. I'm talking like pre-start stages, right? So that's what we're passionate about. We like starting things. So at the moment, yes, but as these businesses grow, we look to support them in growing as well.
I mean, can you explain better how do you help them?
How we help them to start?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, we go through the business model canvas. Everyone's heard of the lean canvas, the business model canvas. We take them through that. We have a look at their branding. So quite often people come to us and they'll say, hey, I have an idea. I want to, I don't know, I want to sell cars or something like that. That's a very simple idea. I have a business idea. I want to sell cars and I will sell it in a unique way. And quite often we get the case where they don't know who their target audiences are. They haven't defined their target audience quite well. And if you haven't defined your target audience quite well, you won't know where to find them. So the first thing we look at is, well, actually, what's the problem that you're solving? And who are you solving that problem for? And where are these people? How much is going to cost you to solve the problem, right? And how much money can you make, or where will the revenue come from when you do solve this problem? I'm just listing out the things on the business model canvas at the moment. And then we look at, how do you know you're successful? So what's the amount of money that you'll make? How many customers will you get? Will you get awards? How do you know that you're successful? So all of these sort of things are the ideas that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more. These are the ideas that needs to be put on paper. So we look at that. We look at cash flow as well. Where's the money going to come from? How's it going to be spent? But one crucial thing, maybe two crucial things that we help our founders with, is for them to understand themselves as entrepreneurs. What type of entrepreneurs are they? So we encourage them to do a personality test so that they can understand who they are and how they work. We also get them to work out what is their cost to the business going to be. What are they going to cost the business? And we found a lot of people don't actually think about that. They go out and they think, let's say a brick and mortars business, maybe a high street store, for example. They might go out and they say, I'll start a bakery, right? And at the moment, their salary is, I don't know, £30,000 a year. And they go to the bakery and the bakery has made £30,000, but that £30,000 doesn't go to the founder, right? Because they're business expenses, right? So some people feel like, I've made £30,000, I've made the same amount that I made in my old job, but that's not really the case. So we help them to figure out actually, what do they cost the business and what are they going to cost the business next year? We've seen a lot of people, and when I say founders, it's not necessarily tech businesses or businesses that can go global. We work with a range of businesses, some boring businesses, as people call them, so service-led businesses as well. But it's the same sort of thing that we found over the years, that people are not fully understanding what it takes to run a business. So we try to educate them on that. And essentially, we're trying to prevent people from being in that 90 whatever percentage. Is it 98% or something that we say businesses fail? Which is actually not really true. So most of the people that has had business failures, as it's called, they're not actual businesses. They're one-man bands. And some of these would have just registered their company with Companies House. So a year or two later, they've closed it, right? So that's where those stats come from. So a lot of people who do start businesses, in our opinion, and from what we've seen, if you have a real business, you have a team, you have people working with you. It's not you by yourself. If it's by yourself, you're self-employed, you're a one-man or one-woman show, right? So we try to let people understand what it really takes to start and run a business.
That's very nice. I do believe it's extremely helpful. I mean, so many people, you're right, they start a business, but they do not have idea even what's the difference between selling for 2 and actually taking nothing in your account because it costs you 2.5. So I do believe a lot of people, they have a good idea, but they need a good management behind before moving the idea to a business stage. Where do you see the most I'm very curious to ask you, where do you see the common mistakes?
Common mistakes? I think it has to do with habits and routine, to be honest. So if you start off having bad habits, and what do I mean by bad habits? It could be anything. It could be not having very good self-awareness. So I'll tell you, one of the first things we do with people who come to work with us, we ask them to do a SWOT analysis on themselves. So for anyone who's watching, who's not done a SWOT analysis on themselves, it's really, really simple. SWOT is strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. We've all probably done it for work, for our teams, for our businesses. But doing one on ourselves is such a simple but really powerful activity to do. Recognizing what your strengths are, recognizing what your weaknesses are. And a lot of founders aren't aware, having that self-awareness of saying, this is the type of person that I am, this is how I work. So I'm going to go back to the brick and mortar example again, because that's just very easy and simple. So we might see some owners of a bakery, let's stick with the bakery analogy. We might see a baker coming in, he's a very good baker, he makes bread really well. He knows that he does that. But what he doesn't realize is that his customer service stinks, right? Or he might not realize that he's awful with money, but the bread is being sold because people want to eat bread, but he's not managing his money really well. But if you sit down and you say, what am I good at? What am I not so good at? What are my opportunities here? And what are the things that are surrounding me, maybe in my immediate surroundings, that can threaten my success? And these things give you a really good insight into the person that you are. Take the weaknesses, for example. Let's say you're not good at marketing. So what do? You either go and do a course to get better at marketing, or what we would recommend is hire someone who's better than you at marketing to market your business for you, right? If you're not good at customer service, maybe you can go on a course again. Sure, there's loads of free stuff up there. There's loads of books that you can write, you can read, but also maybe you can find someone who's a customer service expert that can give you some bespoke advice, and that could revolutionize the way you operate with your customers. So it's just really about self-awareness and being honest. And a lot of people aren't honest. They're sort of like, my dream is to make $1 billion. My dream is to make this amount. But the honest truth is this is who I am now. And the person that I am now, am I capable of making $1 billion as I am now, right?
Yes, so
it's almost like, who do I need to be? So I want to be this person in the future. I want to be this person in the future. What are the skills that this person has? And identifying and being honest with yourself and saying, I don't have those skills. Maybe I need to go and find those skills. So I think awareness, in my opinion, is a huge thing. It's huge. And it's so important to actually know who you are and how you operate. One of my favorite things, something that I enjoy doing and I also encourage, is when you go into a meeting, you meet someone, you might say, hey, this is how I operate. Like I said to you before, I'm good at starting stuff. I'm not the person to grow your business from 10,000 to 100,000. I'm really good at starting. I've recognized that. I don't have a problem with it. I love it, right? But if I'm supposed to say to you, hey, I'm going to show you how to grow your business, but it's not something that I've spent a lot of time working out how to teach someone this, I'm not going to be very good at it. Even though I've grown my business myself, it's not my strongest point, right? So we have other people in our business who are better at growing business. We've got a digital marketer who's really good at putting a strategy digitally, bringing it online. Fantastic. And the people that work with me knows that I love to start stuff. Sometimes they complain, they say, Alex, you have too many ideas, you have to slow down, right? So I think I know that my strength is starting and working with people, and I hone in on that, I work on that, I push in anything that I'm doing. I'm there to help start, right?
Do you call yourself a laboratory? Can you be described as something similar? If I have an idea, I want to develop an idea, I can come to you. You're the one who is telling me, first of all, if it makes sense or not, financially talking, and if the idea can after be turned into business, and growing business can be turned one day in success. So can you identify yourself like labs, for example?
Like labs or venture builders?
Yep.
Yeah, in some ways, yes. So we have a really unique sort of workshop, a 1-day one and a 2-day one that's almost like a venture builder. And it's really about getting started in a really short space of time, like a hackathon, right? So the short answer is yes, but we don't have a long sort of extended 6 months to 18 months sort of program where you typically get those in labs. So our motivation is getting started really quickly, getting involved with your customers really quickly. And that works for people who have apps. So sometimes your app might take 6 months to a year to develop, maybe 3 months or however long apps take these days. But in the meantime, you still want to recognize that the app is a product, not the actual business. So you still need to form what the business does, what the business activities are. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is a little bit more complicated because we do it in a shorter sprint.
Where are based your clients today? Pretty in UK, London?
Yeah, mostly the UK, mostly London. I've done some workshops in Sierra Leone, West Africa. And there are some people who we coach and mentor that are international as well.
If you can tell shortly, give a message to the founders, right? If you have an idea, what you should do?
The first thing you should do with your idea, honestly, is just figure out the problem that you're solving. What problem are you solving, right? And then who you're solving that problem for. So sometimes we come up with ideas. We think, wouldn't it be a great idea if we did X, Y, Z? But that idea might sound good, and we might say, how come no one's doing this? It's a good idea. I'm surprised that no one's thought of it. Try to identify what problem the idea solves, right? So finding out who you're going to be serving and who has this problem and how bad is the problem? How do these people describe the problem, right? How to describe this? Interview them. I'd say go out and interview them. I've got a really bad analogy, and I say it's bad because it's probably not the best one, but it's really simple to understand. If you had a dog walking service and you wanted to find dog owners, where would you go? You'd go to the park, right? So you'd see the dog walkers, and then you might say, actually, I want to have a dog walking service for busy entrepreneurs or busy business people who are never at home, and they're really sad that their dog is home alone all day long. Right. So you go to the park either in the morning or in the afternoon, and you engage with those people. You talk to them about their dog, you have an idea of how they're feeling about their dog not having someone around them all day long. So you really get to know the customer, your potential customer, and your customers will always tell you what to do. Your customers will tell you how to solve the problem for them. So for example, with what you're doing, you've got founders that are coming on here, and they might say, I find it really difficult to find investors. Right? And they will tell you what the problem is. The problem is I do 100 pitches and no one gets back to me. And you say, okay, cool. Maybe you need to think about doing it this way. So it's really about understanding the problem that you're solving and who you're solving it for.
Thank you so much. Do you aim one day to go outside UK and be creating something, I don't know, helping founders, for example, in Europe?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be awesome. Actually, yesterday I was at a university, and most of their students are international students. And I did a 90-minute workshop on how to start a business. I didn't give them all the answers because you can't do that in 90 minutes, but I gave them as much value as I possibly could in 90 minutes. And the majority of them, I think maybe 50, 60% were from, is it South Asia, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, that kind of area, and the others were from Europe and all over the place as well. So that was definitely interesting to work with such a dynamic, such a diverse group of people, and absolutely working in Europe would be amazing. I haven't done so yet. The furthest I've gone so far is, like I said, Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Wait, yes, Africa. We are very focused in Africa as Equity Match. We do believe in emerging markets, as we are very aware how difficult it can be. What's your point of view? I would like to close with this one because I'm very keen to talk about everything can emerge and make things better. But what's your point of view on the state of art of Africa itself when it comes to startup and venture?
So I'll tell you a story. When I was in university, I came up with this idea. We had to do a dissertation and a final year project. So I studied computer science. This was at Goldsmiths. And I created a website where people could go to this website and they can type in the search. It was very simple, type in the search. If they wanted to watch a video, like a film or TV show, let's say Friends or some movie or something, as long as we had it on our database, they could watch it, they could stream it right there and then. This is 2008, right? So 2008, I made this thing. I went to my lecturers. They said, this is novel. This sounds good. Great. I got a good grade for it. And I thought to myself, after uni, I'm going to go off and I'm going to find production companies and some of these companies that distribute videos, and I'm going to try and get a deal with them to put all of their stuff onto my platform. Now, the problem my platform was solving was the problem of illegal downloads, pirating, right? So this is 2008. So 2009 comes along, I'm going around, I'm talking to people, I don't have a mentor, I don't have a coach, I'm not around entrepreneurs. So my mind isn't really that entrepreneurial, right? I'm not around people who are go-getters. So there's a saying that says you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And I was not spending most of the time with people that I would like to be like in the future, right? So I got a job at a really big market research company. I was there for a few years. My role was made redundant and I didn't reapply for my job. So one day I was tidying my room. And I saw lots of papers like stacked piled, and I thought, this looks really serious. It had code on it. I thought, I put a lot of effort into this. What is this? And I realized at that time that I had created in 2008 what Netflix was. So Netflix had just got a deal around that time with an American hotel company, and that took their valuation to the roof, right? It took them so far, and they became like almost a household name shortly after that. So I beat myself up for so long. I was sort of like, I'm an idiot. I should have pushed on. I should have found the right people, all these kind of things. Why am I telling you this story? This is a common story amongst so many people here in London, in Europe, but particularly in Africa. In Africa, a lot of people might not have the access to information or the know-how, how to do it like we do here. Like we're definitely at an advantage. In London, it's a very old country. It's been going for centuries. Most of the countries in Africa are 50, 60, 70 years old. So there isn't that access to this sort of information for whatever the reasons are. And I think for me, I've met so many people who've had amazing ideas, they've created it, but there's a blocker, right? Maybe they went and got a job, maybe they forgot about it, maybe they got discouraged, maybe they just simply lost momentum. They lost momentum and it just slowed down and they forgot about it. And then 10 years later, they're kicking themselves because they are thinking, I could have been a multi-billionaire, right? So it's really about providing that access and helping people. But then also in Africa, as you know, there's a lot of young people who are aspiring to do really good things, and they're up for it and they've got time. right? They've got time. So these kind of activities will absolutely make the world a better place, in my view. So absolutely worth looking into Africa. I know that story was a little bit of a long-winded way to answer your question, but I thought it was important to sort of bring it home with a real life story, because I know so many people can actually resonate with a similar story as well.
Absolutely, it was extremely nice to listen, and that's experience in life, it's everything. Alexander, thank you so much for coming to our talk. I really thank you for your time, for your great, not only speech, but also the great advices you gave today. It was fun. Thank you very much. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you, Max. Thanks for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
With pleasure. Thank you.